only for the Corvins to come and attend Mass every Sunday and every night, apparently. John of Hunedoara did build another chapel for the mercenaries that protected the castle outside the castle. This one was Catholic. If you want to know, the patron saint was at first Saint Mary, and then Saint John the Baptist, because he was also the patron saint of John of Hunedoara. As you can see, the architectonic style is the Gothic style, which is classic for Transylvania, 15th century Transylvania. On the ceiling as keystones, we have two coats of arms of John of Hunedoara. This one was his military coat of arms that was painted on banners, followed in battle, and the other one was the civilian coat of arms, which was on his signature, on his seals for documents and so on. Also, right there in the altar, we have the replica of his sarcophagus. John of Hunedoara, because he was a governor of the Hungarian kingdom, when he died, was placed in Alba Iulia, which at the time was a city, the capital city of Transylvania. It is pretty much destroyed, that sarcophagus. This is the exact replica, because at one point the Turks managed to conquer Hungary and of course Transylvania, and because John of Hunedoara fought a lot with the Turks along his lifetime, and he was very much hated by them, they went into the cathedral where he was placed and destroyed, opened the sarcophagus, destroyed his bones, and also the lid of the sarcophagus. As you can see, it's again a very classical sarcophagus. All knights in Europe were placed in such coffins, let's say, as a sign that they were knights of the realm. The stained glass windows are not original, but in our archaeological diggings around the castle, we did discover small pieces of painted glass, and those LED little thingies that keep the glass together. I don't know how to call them in English. And so, sorry? Yeah, they're made of LED, yeah. And so, these new stained glass windows were made after those original ones that we discovered. Okay. This place was for the choir. Also, there's another gossip saying that in that corner specifically, there was an organ. Okay. As you can imagine how beautiful the music sounds in this architecture with the echo and everything. Yeah. Yeah. But they say that one of the owners in the 16th century lost it playing cards. You know that in the Middle Ages they played cards a lot and they bet. And they lost, he lost the organ. There are documents saying that noble people lost their entire fortune, lost their wives playing cards. Actually, you know, if you are the wife of a noble guy and he plays cards, then you can end up the next morning being the wife of another one. Yeah, which was pretty creepy, if you ask me.
Between that and losing your organ, you know.
Yeah. Losing your organ, losing your wife. Okay. Questions? Call this family the Corvins. I think it's a very pretty legend. It starts with one of the kings of Hungary. His name was Sigismund, who came here at Hunedoara to hunt. During one of his hunting trips, he met the lovely Elizabeth, who was the daughter of a local nobleman, and he fell in love with her. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, they could not get married because she was just middle-class nobility. She did not have the right to marry a king. And he was already married.
Simple.
Yeah. Sorry? Apparently, yeah. Because she was very lovely. But, well, you cannot stop love. And so a few months after their meeting, Elizabeth sent him news that she's carrying. For that, the king gave Elizabeth the proper dowry, I think it's called, what a woman needs to get married, like dresses, material for dresses, jewelry, money, and so on. And contrary to medieval customs, Elizabeth proposes marriage to one of Sigismund's knights. He was a simple knight. He did not have any domain. He was what they called in the Middle Ages a hearth knight. Hearth? As in, he was in the household of the king.
Hearth.
Oh, hearth. Okay. I've lived my life...
In front of the fireplace.
Yeah. Like a fireplace.
Yeah, hearth.
Okay, hearth. I've lived my life thinking that it's hearth. Okay, then. Thank you. Right. This knight accepts the proposal, although she was already showing obvious signs of being +1. And so, as gratitude that he made an honest woman out of this lady, the king donated the very small fortress on the place of this castle, remember the very small fortress I told you about, to this knight. And so he became a rich one, and with a domain. About 5 villages, with peasants that would work the field, with water mills, with forests with game, and so he became rich. Although he accepted a +1 marriage. Yeah. Okay. Before, well, in the Middle Ages, they always, they were shy in mentioning that a woman is pregnant. A woman is in confinement, they would say a woman has a burden, a precious burden, and so on. They would never say, I am pregnant, I'm in confinement. And at a certain point, they would actually have to live only inside their chambers, never getting out. Customs of the Middle Ages. So, before leaving for good for his royal court, Sigismund gave Elizabeth a signet ring with his own seal, so that when the child would grow up, he would go to the royal court, be recognized as an offspring of the king, and of course be given the proper recognition, like in functions in the state. Unfortunately, it is my personal belief that Elizabeth was quite stupid, because John was born. John, this very important character, the future governor of the Hungarian kingdom, was born. And when he was a very small child, she gave him this ring. Not understanding the importance, the symbol of this ring, John was playing with it because he was such a small child. And a raven, attracted by the shining of the ring in the sunlight, came flying and stole the ring from John. But he was such a brave boy, so he took a bow and an arrow, a horse, and after a very long race in the deep dark forest, he saw the raven perched on a branch with the ring in its beak. So he struck the raven down with his arrow. Of course, the raven died, fell off the tree, and John got his ring back. Because apparently, in this very long race, he actually understood the importance of this ring. So when he met the king, his alleged father, for the first time, John told him of this adventure of his. And so the king, terribly impressed by the fact that his son, although such a small boy, was such a brave one, decided that the family's coat of arms, that is the family's symbol, by which they would be recognized everywhere, would be, guess what? The raven with the golden ring in its beak. Therefore, in Latin, raven means corvus. And therefore, from corvus in Latin, we have the Corvins. This is why we call them the Corvins, because they have a raven on their coat of arms.
Ravens.
Yeah. So
why
this is
Elizabeth was stupid?
because she gave the ring to John, even though he was such a small boy. And he
end,
was actually playing with it.
Okay, but at the end he got
Well, that's,
what he wanted.
yeah, he got what he wanted, and it proves that he was very brave.
Yeah.
And it proves that he was in his right to be the governor of the Hungarian kingdom, since he was such an intelligent...
Happy end at the end.
Sorry?
Happy end of the story.
Yeah, happy ending of the story. Well, of course, there are historians that say that this is true, that John of Hunedoara, since being in such a small town, became such an important person as the governor of the Hungarian kingdom because he was the illegitimate son of a king. There are other historians that say that this is, bullshit. Pardon my French. And especially the Romanian historians say that because he was very intelligent, managed to become so important. Well, the truth is for breakfast, lunch and dinner, this is where John of Hunedoara would come and address important matters of his domain. I want to tell you that John of Hunedoara never stuck with his 5 villages and very small fortress. I told you that he enlarged and transformed it into a castle, and also he enlarged his domain. From those 5 villages, he managed to gather about 200 villages, 150 fortresses, 5 boroughs, like not town today, but boroughs. Okay. Please grasp my understanding of English. Yes. Right? Okay. So he was a very rich person, and so he had a lot of important matters to decide here. Also, he needed to decide when to go to war. Also, he needed to have the local noblemen as his allies, and because the local noblemen would not be so rich as him, they would come here and say, this is an impressive architecture even today. And so they would be very impressed and they would say, oh my God, I want to be as rich as you, and so I will become your ally and I will fight for you and with you. All right. Also, this hall functioned as a courthouse, because on this wall here, around here, there was a door that led directly into the prison of the castle. So if you ever end up being in trial, and especially in the Middle Ages, if you end up in a trial, usually it means that you're guilty, whether you're not or you are. And so the prisoners would be led directly into the prison. At some point during the 18th century, the door was closed, and the prison, very interestingly, was transformed into a smokehouse. So imagine bacon and pork and veal being preserved by smoke. Well, we will see the prison as well. Right, right there where the guy over there will sing, you see there's a trapdoor on the floor. That is the very secret entrance. It's not secret anymore. Well, secret in the 15th century. The entrance into the escape tunnel. Every castle has an escape tunnel. If ever an enemy would come and attack the castle and manage to conquer the castle, the important people would go through that trapdoor and escape from the castle. Outside entirely. Okay, let's give attention to ladies, because again, contrary to the Middle Ages, he ended up being terribly in love with his wife. Because you know that in the Middle Ages they would have contracted marriages, arranged marriages, but they ended up being very in love, and so the ladies of the realm were very disappointed with him. There's also a legend of the White Knight in what is today southern France, in Spain. The White Knight was, the Arthurian legends of King Arthur and his knights seeking the Grail and la la la. Well, this White Knight also battled dragons. He was very wise. He counseled the kings of Europe, according to the legend, and battled dragons and so on and so forth. And our John of Hunedoara is the root, the model for this legend. Model.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, let's. For example, another one is a tree, and that symbolizes the tree. Because the root of the tree, the bark of the tree actually supports life. Yes. Popular religion.
Yes. Very, very nice.
These are the owner.